Now, it is also important for us to understand that divorce is just one of the examples of the global changes that is actually or currently sweeping the world. Some of the other examples of the global changes, events, and also inventions that are currently, factors that are responsible for the global change we are experiencing in the world include climate change, climate change. Then we have the pandemics are also a form of events and change that is affecting and changing the world gradually today. Pandemics. Then we talk about the advent of artificial intelligence, AI. Then a form of entertainment I call the supersonic entertainment. The supersonic entertainment. Entertainment. Then, of course, the wars that are happening around the world, they're actually events that is, if you look at from Europe, even on the continent of Africa, and other places around the world, the wars that we are actually experiencing, the crisis, are also events that are changing the world gradually. Wars. Then, the advent of social media and it's the information that humans derive from the social media platform. It's information craze, and very soon, that is the aspect we are experiencing now, information craze. Now very soon we are going to experience what we call information transformation. So social media, social media and slash information are part of the events and inventions that is gradually changing the world today. Then another thing is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency. Then another one is food scarcity. Scarcity. Then, of course, even religious crisis. This is just to name but a few. All these events, some of these points or issues that we have pointed out are actually inventions. Some are events themselves, and they all have a way. If you look at all these events and inventions, you discover that the world is actually changing gradually because these events and inventions are meant to actually bring about a change, to move this world from what I call the smart world. This is the current world we are actually in is a smart world. So these events and some of these events and inventions are actually gradually changing us or moving us to another kind of world that we call the supersonic world. So you discover that if you look at this event, the world is changing, the world is evolving, and a new world is coming that is called the supersonic world. But Africa is not preparing. Now, this is why, because Africa is not preparing, this is the reason why you discover that the African continent and the African people are going to be the most hit by the what we call evolution crisis. Evolution crisis. Now, for a change to occur, for example, as climate change is occurring, There is a kind of crisis that must be associated with it. The pandemics that are happening, there are crises that will be associated with it. For artificial intelligence, the adoption and the invention and the introduction of artificial intelligence into the human world will definitely come with its own crisis. As we go on, we'll discuss that. Of course, we know today how people complain about the negative effect of entertainment, supersonic entertainment for that matter. Then the wars, of course, it's a natural crisis of its own, or artificial crisis of its own. Then we know how we complain about also social media and its effect on us today, cryptocurrency and so on, government complaining about cryptocurrencies, food scarcity. This will come certainly, all these changes will come certainly with crisis. Just like when a child is migrating from one stage to the other in life, certainly that child will experience developmental crisis. Let's use an example. When a child is about to develop tooth or teeth, you discover that that child will begin to experience rise in temperature. The child will begin to the body will, overall the body will begin to riot. And now that is a form of crisis that accompanying the child's development or change from one stage to the other. The same way that for the human world to move from what I just called the smart world to the supersonic world, certainly we are going to experience evolution crisis. And like I said, Africa is going to be worse hit by this evolution crisis because we are actually not preparing. The rest of the world is migrating from the smart world to the supersonic world, but Africa is still not even well integrated with the smart world yet, not to talk of moving to the supersonic world. And now, this is why there must be awakening in Africa. Africa need to wake up. And the responsibility and the duty to awaken Africa is for every African, because there is a greatness and a giant in every African. And the funny thing is that only a very few Africans, I mean, only a very few Africans are actually awake today. So, a whole percentage of the African population we need to wake up. The greatness and the giant in us that will support us to be able to overcome this evolution crisis and be able to move with the rest of the world from the smart world into the supersonic world is actually sleeping in us, and we need to wake up. Now, and if Africa and Africans do not wake up, the global change that is currently sweeping the world in form of divorce crisis, climate change crisis, pandemic crisis, artificial intelligence, supersonic entertainment, and so on, will eventually submerge Africa. But the good news is that Africa and Africans do actually have what it takes to overcome our evolution crisis, to overcome whatever global change crisis we are currently experiencing, and be able to transit from the smart world to the supersonic world with the rest of the world.